This is Telewizja Republika, home of the free speech. We are in Croatia, Dubrovnik, with George Simeon from Romania on the first of mega conferences that are dedicated to memory of Charlie Kirk. George Simeon, welcome to Telewizja Republika.
Glad to be back to the home of free speech.
Mr. President, what is the reason for which you decided to organize a mega conference? Is it the sixth of the mega conferences in the last 6 years? Why did you decide to dedicate it to the memory of Charlie Kirk?
We were planning a European Congress of Families. We were planning an ECR event. And this tragedy happened with the killing of Charlie Kirk. It's exactly 1 month since the killing, and we wanted to pay a tribute to this hero that through his death will change the way politics and ideologies will look in America, but also in Europe. Charlie lit a fire in the conservative world and spread it, and now it's spreading also to Europe. So we talked with our Croatian partners, with Steven Bartulica, and decided to have it as a tribute to Charlie Kirk.
Assassination of Charlie Kirk actually sent shockwaves throughout the world, not only through the conservative world, but the entire, I would even say, generation of people interested in politics were shocked by this tragedy, because Charlie Kirk was simply asking questions, and he was assassinated not because of the questions he asked, but because of the answers that were given to him by the people he opposed. And it in a way shows the tragedy, the political tragedy that we are witnessing right now. And Charlie Kirk in a way managed to handle the process we are all facing. What can we take away from his legacy? For example, here in Europe, we are in the southern Eastern Europe. We are in a former communist country, former part of Yugoslavia. We both share, our countries share the burden of communism and liberty and freedom and desire to have freedom. Now we are 30 years after, and this kind of thing happens.
Well, the fight for freedom is continuing. It's not settled once and for all. Each generation must pay its tribute. And from what I see, there are new dangers, new attacks on this freedom, on democracy. We can see clearly that Charlie was assassinated because he spoke the truth. And because of his impact, he ran a $100 million business, and he was involving hundreds of thousands of college students, which normally belong to the woke movement. But the youth are awakening, Europeans are awakening, and everybody is understanding the truth. This is why when they don't have any logical arguments, when they don't have money, when they cannot impose censorship, they kill you. And this is not an isolated event. They did it with Donald Trump, they did it with Robert Fico in Slovakia, and they will continue to do it. They annulled our election. This is also something very brutal. And this fight is carried on in these years across Europe. You saw how they attacked Telewizja Republika for making CPAC. You saw how Donald Tusk tried to annul also the Polish elections. These guys do not have any respect for democracy, for freedom of speech, and for normality. I'm witnessing what Karol Nawrocki is doing as president of Poland, and to tell you the truth, I'm a little bit worried for him. It's a good news that Andrej Babiš won the elections in the Czech Republic, so we can make in our part of the world, in Central and Eastern Europe, a common bloc for normality.
You mentioned the unprecedented event which was related to the presidential election that you took part in. And when American Vice President J.D. Vance addressed the issue during the Munich conference, and he asked a simple question: what do you do with the election when you do not receive the result that you expect as a European leaders? The world was stunned, because actually no one ever told this kind of thing during the Munich conference. But since then, what is the answer to the threats that we are talking about? Because roughly 40% of voters in different European Union member states lean rather conservative than liberal left. And still, there are just a few states in which the conservative parties actually run the government.
The main goal of the next years is to get our parties leading the government from the United Kingdom to Romania, to allow the power of the people and to let the people decide, because they are trying through different methods to block these elections. And we won't be democracy anymore. We'll be dictatorship. We will not be part of or satellite countries of the Soviet Union. We'll be part or satellite countries of the European Union, but still with commissars, with dictatorship, with imposed crazy dictates. So the provocations are still going on. Free elections, freedom of speech. We see on social networks that they are imposing the Digital Service Act, that they are imposing ways to control your private messages. Is an attack on our private lives, but or on our basic freedoms. I was speaking at this conference with Rod Dreher, which in 2024 was speaking with J.D. Vance, and he was a simple parliamentarian in the United States. 1 year later, he came back as the vice president of the United States. Things are moving fast. And 2025, 2026, 2027 will be decisive years for the future of Europe, for the future of our countries, for the future of our civilization.
Mr. President, your political party in Romania is very high in the polling numbers. Still, you were very high in the polling numbers during the presidential election. You actually won the first turn of this election. What are the perspectives for your political party to actually win in Romania and form a government? Is that the possibility? Do you need any coalition partners? And what is the time frame in which that can or no happen?
The next parliamentary elections in Romania are only in December 2028. We are hoping for snap elections, but Romania, since December 2024, is no longer a democracy. We are a hybrid regime. So we cannot expect, even if half of the Romanians will go and vote for us, which the polls show that we can do it, we cannot expect, under the current European circumstances, to be let to run the country. After Poland, Romania is the most important country in Central and Eastern Europe as size and population. And France interfered in our elections, and they will not leave because
What was the way that France interfered in your election?
the French ambassador and Emmanuel Macron phoned in December to the Constitutional Court, to the Secret Service in Romania to annul the elections. They did this together with Anthony Blinken and Ursula von der Leyen. And in the May's elections, the French external espionage was very present in Bucharest and Chisinau. They traveled to these countries, and you could see Pavel Durov stating publicly that they wanted to impose censorship on Telegram. But Telegram is only 1 million users in Romania, but they did this with TikTok, they did this with Facebook, they did this by frightening people and telling them we will exit the European Union. They used all the left liberal media to attack us. It was the same case with Karol Nawrocki, because I know very well the campaign Karol had, and they invented lots of things against him. The only difference was between Romania and Poland that Poland, the right-wing, the conservative forces had already an experience in government, and you could have judges in the Supreme Court, you could have people across the institutions. We didn't take part until now to government, and it will be harder and harder to have a change in government in Europe if they do not like the persons who and the parties who are winning. And make no mistakes, in the biggest countries, in France and Germany, they do not. And also we saw this outside the European Union, in Great Britain. They are not championing, and they don't favor the ones that are on the first place.
You mentioned the European Union as an institution. You are probably the most known politician who opposes Ursula von der Leyen, the EU, the chief of the EU Commission. But the EU institutions are under a political process within the European Parliament, and there is an idea and political motion to take Ursula von der Leyen off her position. What are the chances that this kind of thing actually happens? When you look at the numbers in European Parliament, it doesn't look like it adds up. Is it even possible?
Of course, it's possible, and it's about one of the fewest things that the members of the European Parliament can do. Of course, they have a majority, and of course, they have the stimulants needed to keep the current majority. They use tactics like stick and carrot. They try to use it against Poland with closing your coal mines and other policies. They will try to impose the pandemic treaty. They tried to impose the migration treaty, and Karol Nawrocki rejected it, but they will not quit. They have the money, they control the money. It's our money, actually, and if it's not our money, they can print it anyway, and they are trying to blackmail the member states. We could see this with Poland, we can see this with Hungary, and the idea is to be much more organized, much more united in our front, and to see this objective that Ursula von der Leyen, the unelected bureaucrats and the so-called elites from Brussels must be taken down through democratic procedures and hopefully through peace. This is the way. Even if I see lots of unrest in more and more Western European countries.
My final question is actually a question of cooperation of like-minded people, not only throughout Europe, but in a way around the world. Because the election result in the United States puts some perspective of a 4-year presidential term of US president that is actually addressing issues that we are talking about here. Climate change and climate policies, woke ideology, the migration policies, freedom of speech, fundamental values like family values. What can we build on this kind of common understanding of those political issues?
This is why we have this Make Europe Great Again conferences. The MEGA is the rebellion of the nations who do not want to disappear. It is a global movement after the victory of President Trump. It is a game changer, and we must win across the world, and we must not make it great, but make it normal again. And happily, and many Westerners are saying it, Poland and Romania are still normal countries, and we must fight to win. It's the victory of our generation.
We came to the place where being normal means perspective of being great, which actually tells a lot about the times that we are talking about. George Simion, president of IUR party from Romania and also organizer of the mega conference here in Dubrovnik, Croatia. Mr. President, thank you very much for your time and for your presence.
Thank you, Telewizja Republika.
This is Telewizja Republika, home of the free speech.